Coming up, are WWE scrapping one of their titles? Are there going to be mass resignations from NXT? Yet more Ring of Honor stars were backstage at Dynamite, and the grisly photos from the aftermath of Cody Rhodes versus Andrade El Idolo. So subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news, because it's Friday. Yay!
Support WrestleTalk!
First off, if you've been watching NXT 2.0, then you may have noticed that slated for this weekend's War Games match is a match between Roderick Strong and Joe Gacy. So far, so good. That match is for the Cruiserweight Championship, and Gacy, bless his little cotton snowflake socks, he's not exactly a cruiserweight, is he? Roddy, in fact, issued an open invitational on this week's show challenging anyone regardless of gender or weight limit, and according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, this could signal the future of the belt. He said, "I heard they want to ditch the cruiserweight title. The all-inclusive championship. Is that the deal?" Brian Alvarez tried to shoot it down, saying that Gacy had not been allowed to wrestle a female competitor on Tuesday, but Meltz added it's different people running. Like the old people running, it would not have, they wanted the cruiserweight title to be legit. They told everyone to be 205 and under or they can't be in the division. The whole 205 Live is not how Vince McMahon does things. We'll see what happens, but they've talked about that. I know they've talked about changing the 205 Live with the cruiserweight title thing. I don't know if they're going to do it in this situation here. It feels like they are because Gacy is getting all kinds of TV time. Personally, I can see a world in which they give the title to Joe, they rebrand it, and then they have him lose it to Ivy Nile. What do you reckon? Is scrapping the weight limit a good idea? Do you want to see an all-inclusive title in NXT? Let me know in the comments down below. We've got more news in a second after this word from today's sponsor.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this episode's sponsor, Star Trek Fleet Command, which is free to play on iOS and Android, so use our link in the description below to download it now. You know what I love just as much as pro wrestling? Star Trek The Next Generation. Let's resolve all our intergalactic conflicts by sitting in 1980s conference rooms and debating the Prime Directive. Star Trek Fleet Commander sponsored us back in September, which put me on a month-long Next Generation binge, where I remembered my other favourite part of the series, the spaceships, and the rare but incredibly cool moments when they actually had full-on proper battles in space. The best of both worlds might actually be the greatest TV two-parter of all time. And spaceships and space battles are what Fleet Commander is all about. Choose your own faction from the Federations, those are my guys, Romulans, Klingons, Rogues, and Augments, then unlock iconic characters to draft your fantasy Star Trek roster. Kirk, Picard, and Benjamin Sisko all on the same ship? The universe can't handle that much sexiness. Set warp drive to yes! You then journey around deep space, capturing enemy territory, acquiring resources, and blowing up rival ships to dominate the multiverse. And thanks to monthly updates, the story and rewards stay fresh and engaging. Star Trek Fleet Command is free to play on both iOS and Android, so please give the game a go by downloading it using the links in the video description below. Not only will you have a really fun time building your own Star Trek roster from across the Star Trek multiverse, but every person who clicks that link also really helps support us here at WrestleTalk. So thanks to all of you. Support WrestleTalk, support Star Trek, and as Spock always says, use the Force, Harry. You're a wizard.
As we all know by now, the new direction for NXT, which has us questioning whether old staples like the Cruiserweight Championship would change, came about because WWE wants to concentrate on injecting its talent pool with a pure dose of young hoss. And where do they intend to find such meaty mans and gammony gals? It's college, of course. WWE just announced its Next in Line program, which aims to forge collaborative partnerships with college athletes and eventually transition them to being full-time performers for the company. Now, these partnerships are designed to give athletes access to the WWE Performance Center as well as the resources to train them for the likes of media appearances, brand building, and community relations. This all follows in the wake of the NCAA ushering in the nil era in July this year, allowing college athletes to monetize their name, name, image, and likeness. On this scheme, Triple H's stuffy alter ego, Paul from the back office, said, "By creating partnerships with elite athletes at all levels across a wide variety of college sports, we will dramatically expand our pool of talent and create a system that readies NCAA competitors for WWE once their collegiate careers come to a close." Now, WWE's first stab at a nil partnership was with Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson, who they are hoping is going to join WWE full-time once he graduates. And their press release said that the company will unveil the first class of nil partnerships in the coming weeks. Along with the potential cruiserweight title changes and the focus on younger athletes coming into the company, another major change has come to NXT of late. And this follows on from a bit of news from yesterday. Because yesterday there was talk of Beth Phoenix possibly returning to the main roster in order to be involved in the ongoing storyline between her actual husband Edge and Miz and his real-life Maurice. Well, just after that episode went live, Beth posted on Twitter saying, "Ahead of War Games, I wanted to share that this Sunday will be my final night in NXT. While I remain part of WWE, I have made the choice to step away from the weekly broadcast booth to spend more time with my family," which, number one, thank you, Beth, for everything you did in NXT. You were a great inclusion. And number two, suddenly gives some credence to those rumors from yesterday, and I am still sort of rooting for a mixed tag. Sort of. To be fair, I just want to see Beth Phoenix wrestle again. But Beth leaving NXT could be the tip of a bad iceberg for the brand, because also on Wrestling Observer Radio, Bryan Alvarez said she just decided she's done with NXT. Whatever that means. She says it's due to family, but this also, again, might not be the last person, because no matter what you guys think about me or anyone else saying that it sucks, it does. There are people there who have told me that it's not fun anymore. So Alvarez reckons that this move for Beth is nothing to do with spending more time with family, but leaving the show after what has genuinely been an underwhelming rebrand in a lot of fans' eyes. Backstage rumors have claimed that morale is super low within the company this year due to the staggering number of releases and ever-changing directions, which were invented to bring in a younger audience, but ultimately have led to viewing figures declining on NXT. So if talent are saying to Alvarez that the show is not fun anymore and he reckons people could be leaving, we could be seeing a lot more people going the way of Aunt Betty. Just look at Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, whose contract status is still currently up in the air, and they could both be out of the door after this weekend. And whether they and more of the old guard of NXT leave the brand and potentially the entire company, it could really wobble the foundations for the former Black and Gold brand, because I'm sure they're relying on them to train this younger crop of talent. Jumping the fence now to AEW, and boy howdy was this week's Dynamite insane. Cody and Andrade were on fire. Literally. And more folks than usual behind the curtain backstage to gawk at the carnage. PW Insider reporting that former Ring of Honor television champion Jonathan Gresham was backstage at the show, as was former ROH World Champion Matt Taven. Now, Gresham and Taven joined the Briscoes as Ring of Honor talent who have reportedly been spotted backstage at AEW shows recently, and considering that Jay Lethal made his debut at Full Gear, we could be seeing a serious influx of Ring of Honor talents after they all got released from their contracts as Ring of Honor rebrands. And I think it's safe to say that the visiting stars were given a warm welcome. Roasting, actually. The smell of long pig cooking wafting up from the ringside area. I mean, to be honest, Cody and Andrade left it all in the ring, along with lots of bits of skin and some singed hairs. And following the show, AEW posted some rather grisly pictures to show just how bad Cody's back was after he heroically put himself through a flaming table in order to defeat Andrade. Those of a squeamish disposition, look away now. That is gonna need a lot of after sun lotion. The images show Cody's back and arms covered in burns and plastered in what looks like bits of melted table. I told him it wasn't a good idea to baste himself before he went out there. Now, Cody isn't the only one who took a rather scary bump on Dynamite though, as during Rhodes' entrance when Andrade jumped the American Nightmare, Arn Anderson took a little spill from the stage, falling into this gap between the ramp. Thankfully, it wasn't a huge fall and Arn seemed okay. And fan footage interestingly captured in the moment that Jose, the assistant, turns back around to help, hauls Arn out of the ditch, and then like a true good Samaritan, continues the planned beatdown. That is how the pros do it. To be fair, it did add to the overall chaos of the opening, and it's probably the least crazy thing that happened in that particular part of Dynamite. Despite that though, despite Cody and Andrade demolishing the ringside area, bleeding, being set on fire, all of the pain, T-Pain, and putting on a seriously fun match. AEW Dynamite managed to draw the lowest total viewership since May the 19th in its regular time slot. The show brought in 861,000 sets of eyeballs and got a 0.31 in the key 18 to 49 demo rating, according to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. Not good, but the episode in May drew only 821,000 viewers and a 0.28 in the demo, so it is a little bit higher than that. It's a bit of a hit to the show overall, but Dynamite has held fairly stable in its regular time slot for most of the year, with the big peaks tending to fall around pay-per-view season and when pre-advertised segments include big name talent. So I'm guessing this could be a bit of an ego hit to Cody Rhodes here. I mean, if only they'd advertised the Flaming Table.
What were our takeaways from when we watched the first trailer? Because I remember us having a theory on it's a simulation within a simulation, and maybe that's the route they go down, and Neo rediscovers who he is pretty quickly. This is in a different way, almost a meta commentary on the idea of reboots.